Hey, welcome. Hi, everyone. I'm Abhijit from Shell E4. Thank you for joining us in the eee-Taxi Q&A room. What a great demo day. What a great effort by all of the startups. I hope everyone enjoyed the show. So this is the question and answer section. This is where you get to ask the questions to the startup leadership team or just drop a comment. If you want more information on their pitch, here is the place to ask for it. If you want to know about their future plans or want clarification on their business model or go-to-market strategies, here is the platform to do it. Or if you want just to drop a comment of encouragement or just say hello, you can also do that too. So if you have any questions, please write that in the Q&A box on your web browser. We have the next 45 minutes with the founding team members here. Okay, then let's get started. In the room, today we have Gaurav Trivedi with us, who is the Chief Business Officer of eee-Taxi. He has vast and diverse experience in the logistics domain in India and Africa. Prior to joining eee-Taxi, Gaurav has worked with other electric mobility companies in the similar space. He is a law graduate and has completed an executive management program from Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. So before taking on live questions, Gaurav, why don't you give us a brief about eee-Taxi and we'll directly jump into the questions.
Thanks, Abhijit, and hello and good afternoon, everyone. It's my privilege to be speaking about eee-Taxi here. So eee-Taxi is an end-to-end e-mobility solutions provider. We bring in 100% of our EVs, charging infrastructure, and state-of-art technology together to save companies time, money, and carbon emission. Additionally, we also create a shared EV charging marketplace for other EV users to plug in their EVs. Presently, the company has been operating in Delhi NCR, the twin cities of Hyderabad, Secunderabad, and very recently we started off in Bangalore. What we offer is tech-based employee transport solution, reducing logistic cost and saving travel time. We help companies reduce their Scope 2 and Scope 3 emissions in sustainability. We bring our EVs, charging infra, technology, and the management expertise to run it for our corporates. Thank you.
Great. We'll quickly jump into questions. We have questions pouring in here. The first question for you, Gaurav, that currently with more and more number of people working remotely, what risks does this create for eee-Taxi?
So to answer this, I would say, prior to the lockdown, due to this global pandemic, we were working, there were preferred clients who essentially provided employee transportation to their employees and used transportation for their corporate commuting needs. These were companies in the IT and the ITES space. Now, most of this whole sector of the IT and ITES is working remotely from home. So definitely the impact on the overall corporate commute is seen. However, what we have seen is that there is a new emerging demand coming from other sectors in manufacturing, other service sector. Let me just tell you, in all the phases of lockdown that we saw in India, and to speak about the geographies where we operate, eee-Taxi has been operating right from lockdown 1. We kept the company working, giving our services to our very esteemed clients in the emergency service sector. So one of my telecom service provider, we were working for them right from the first week of April onwards and have been working with them. So what has happened is, while the IT and ITES has gone remote working, other sectors, those who essentially have to make their employees to work, are looking for safer, more sustainable. There is a heightened consciousness around sustainability in every action that the corporates are doing now, and more sanitized cabs. So with this thing, we don't feel that there is any kind of threat that we feel. It's a new opportunity for us now.
Great. Thank you, Gaurav. And, in your pitch deck, you have also mentioned that your drivers are also working on Uber platform. So we have a question on how do you provide assurance that one will be safe while using your vehicles for travel in India?
So why my drivers, drivers also work on Uber is eee-Taxi essentially has a hybrid model. So we are a B2B player. We operate our electric, 100% electric fleet for our corporate clients. When not utilized on any corporate duties, just to maximize the utilization of the asset, we put them on Uber. And with Uber, we get a certain number of trips that keeps the asset utilization getting utilized. Being EV, it makes more sense that the asset is sweat, as much in a 24-hour cycle. However, we are very, very conscious of the health and safety standards of the driver. So we have capped all duties for our drivers at 12 hours. Now, when we say we keep our drivers on for 12 hours, in between, the driver essentially has to take charging. The car needs to get charged. And that is the time when the driver gets break from his work. So the safety with regard to driver's health that he's working for prolonged shift is taken care. Secondly, and that is the more important part, that on ride-hailing platform, there is a pressure on the driver to earn revenue, and he may exceed the number of working hours. Most of us, while commuting from airports or various other places where we have taken the ride-hailing cabs, we have seen, if we have spoken to them, it could be that their driver says he has to work for extended working hours. However, we ensure that the driver is on paid basis by us, and within that payment structure, should he in that 12-hour shift achieve something higher revenue, then there is a higher takeaway that we give him, ensuring that the driver is kept motivated and the safety is not compromised either for driver on ride hailing or when operating for a corporate.
Right. So moving from drivers to a little bit into your vehicle. So we have a question on, from where do you manage to get your EV taxis? Do you buy from the existing automobile OEMs or do you make them on your own?
Oh, we are a service provider. So we source our EVs from the OEMs that are presently there. In our fleet, we have Mahindra's e-Verito D variant, which is the top-notch variant in the EV that Mahindra has launched. And we also have the Tata Tigor's EVs, the extended range one. So these two are available in the market now, and we are using them. We are also looking at other EVs from OEMs like Hector and others, and would be getting them in due course of time.
Right. So a follow-up question that is popping up on my screen is, what are some of your existing current partnerships with car OEM? Do you have any existing partnerships, or do you plan to be in one of those?
Our current OEMs, both the Mahindras and the Tata, we have a partnership with them, and we are already in talk with them for extending our fleet size, the overall fleet size for the newer geography Bangalore that we have opened. So with them, the partnership is there, and we are nurturing it, and it will be extended further.
Great. So building onto this vehicle aspect, we have a question aimed at your strategy. So what is the mix of owned, operated, and aggregated vehicles you are currently having, and what is your estimation of the ideal mix?
Very interesting question, I may say. But as of now, eee-Taxi owns 100% of the EVs that we have in our fleet. Why we own 100% of EVs is because when we started off, we saw corporates and people having questions and anxiety around range, that would this vehicle stop midway? Would the battery get discharged? Do we need to pull this vehicle? Will the current be given by this vehicle? So having said this, we wanted to demonstrate to the larger ecosystem where we operate that this is a very, very successful model. We own the asset and we operate as of now. Moving ahead, definitely we look for a mix of what we do. We are in the process of leasing vehicles for expanding, rapid expansion, if I may say. And then first it could be leasing, and a stage ahead to that would be the ownership model, people coming and plugging onto our platform, their vehicles.
Great, Gaurav. So I have a couple of questions on your thoughts on different form factors within EV. So currently you are operated in four-wheeler, and what's your view on two-wheeler, three-wheeler, or six-wheeler EV, and a particular question on any plan to enter into internal transportation for domestic airports in India. For example, the buses which carry passenger from terminal gate to the aircrafts.
So, taking this step by step regarding form factor, definitely we have been working with four-wheelers, 1+4 form factor as of now. That is the most prominent and the most utilized car form factor in the corporate B2B. We are also looking at 7-passenger cars as and when in due course of time, credible, approved car asset is available in the Indian market, we'll take them. With regard to buses and two-wheelers, definitely we are, as we said, we are very, very open to adopt newer forms of mobility onto our platform. And as I said, we are a B2B player. Should there be a demand, a firm demand from a corporate that they want, we also, along with our cabs, also give them two-wheelers. And one particular, if I may say, corporate, we are presently discussing this whole, that we will give them cabs for home to office or their campus. And within campus, some large MNCs have very large size campuses. So within the commute inside the campus, we are also talking and discussing if we could put the two-wheelers. As regard coming to the airport, definitely we are in talk with a couple of, or if I may say, major airports as of now. Plans due to this COVID and post-COVID, things are moving. So in due course of time, you should hear about us being operating eee-Taxi cab services from these airports, and taking this as a buses from terminal to the alighting at the airport, at the aircraft. Definitely that is one interesting business case. We are open to take them on.
Great. For those in audience who have joined late, this is a Q&A section going on. This is where you get to ask the questions to the founders or just drop a comment. If you wanted more information on the pitches, here is the places to ask for it. If you want to know about the future plans or want clarification on their business model or go-to-market strategies, here is the platform to do it. Or if you just want to drop a comment of encouragement or just say hello, you can do that here too. Right now, if you have any questions, please write that in the Q&A box on your web browser. And we're currently in chat with Gaurav from eee-Taxi. So Gaurav, just going a little bit back into your company. So you have mentioned that eee-Taxi was incorporated 6 years before. So a question on what are some of your failures and pivots as a company, and mostly what has been your growth in these 6 years of operation?
Sure. So the last 6 years have seen unprecedented growth, which is multifold, if I may say, for us. With regard to learnings, definitely we have had a lot of learnings in this phase, right from, if I recall, when the company started off way back 6 years ago, there were very questions like people were really anxious about the range of the car, about getting, electrocuted in the car and things like these. Today, 6 years ago, we had to pitch hard to the corporates to make them understand the proposition about of the EVs. Today, when we get emails and calls requesting that they are interested in partnering with us, they want EV cabs for their corporates commute ever since. And if I may tell you, we are on 3rd of November, and I have a pipeline from a corporate that says that they will be operating sometime in the second quarter of next year, maybe end of second quarter, and we are in talk with them also as of now. So people with such a long horizon to opening up post this pandemic are in. So this is the learning curve where we have gone through, that there is a mind shift change that has come. People first being afraid of adopting an EV to now proactively reaching out for EVs. As regard failures, I wouldn't say any, because we are very, very conscious the way we deliver our operations. That is one thing, and safety is now the DNA of our company. We have never had any instance where a major safety issue with regard to our own company cab driver or a client or a third party outside on road has ever happened. We use high voltage charging infrastructure, and we have been very, very good with them. So, but definitely, if not failures, there have been a lot of learnings. We definitely in the 6 years say this thing had we done a couple of years back, things. So that is the learning, I would say, rather than failures that we have seen.
Great, Gaurav. The next question is little bit on the electric vehicle ecosystem in general. So, the question is, how does promoting electric cars make sense for India when more than 50% of the electricity source is dirty, which is coal, which has even higher carbon footprint than petrol and gas? So, what's your take on this, Gaurav?
So, see, this is a very interesting question. This I was hearing at the start of this Shell demo day, and all the speakers, esteemed speakers, have been saying that the world today is at the crossroad of energy transition. We have to understand even India is on road to sustainability, and this sustainability on the energy definitely we are transiting from fossil fuel based energy to more clean green energy. So definitely we as and when the more input into the grid would be from clean energy, we would be utilizing more of that, and running our cars on clean energy. Firstly. Secondly, we are very open. We are in talk with some Indian and other foreign companies of how to put solar-based charging for our EV cabs. So in due course of time, we are in talk with some corporates who have evinced interest in doing the same with us. And the day we start doing, so we can play our part, and we are playing it well, which may be a very baby step as of now, but we are very proud to do that. That our EVs are non-polluting. There is zero emission. They do not have a tailpipe that they can omit any noxious CO2 and other noxious gases. And Delhi NCR, where we majorly have been started and operating in the last 6 years, it's top 10, in the polluted cities. So we are making our difference. We are whatever little we are, and we'll continue doing it. The more energy transition from so-called unclean energy to the cleaner energy happens, we'll be tapping on the same and keep delivering using IEVs.
Great to know your view on this, Gaurav. We have a couple of questions more specific to eee-Taxi. So how many trips can eee-Taxi's car do in a single charge? And from your experiences, have there been any range anxieties?
So I'll take the second part first about range anxieties. What we do, since we are a B2B player, we operate with corporate clients. So before, and EV is a planned vehicle. So in the backdrop of these two things, before deploying a cab for the client, we are aware as to what is the pickup point, where the client has to be dropped, what is the engagement, what are the kilometers to be run. Around that, we build our operations, and this is, as I said, a tech-enabled integrated operation that we run. So we have never faced that a client is sitting with us and there has been a range anxiety. Never. We have so we manage our operations, our smart algorithms that optimize the routing and scheduling of these vehicles. We ensure that the car is 100% charged for our corporate client at all times. So range anxiety is well taken care of by the business operational excellence that we have built in the system.
So here's a question from one of the startups in the audience, building on to whatever you mentioned on the range anxieties. So the startup's question is, vehicle rooftop wind turbines can increase range of electric vehicles. So what's your specific take on this? Will you be interested in such technologies?
Definitely. We are very, very interested in new emerging technologies in the space. And as and when newer technology is available, duly approved, I look forward to such cars that would have extended range. Either there is improvement in the battery capacity of these cars, or there is an external fitment solutions like the one that has been proposed of rooftop turbine. But should this be approved by relevant certification agencies like ARAI, and the product is fit for our use in the fleet, we'll be more than glad to have a look at such product.
Great. There you go. Uh, just coming little bit into your competitors. So there's a question. I could see there are many questions on who do you feel are your closest competitors, and what impacts and what differentiation that AAA taxi brings to this place when it is compared with the competitors.
So if you see presently, it's not only a transition in the energy space, but even the new age, the future mobility is all under transition. The entire Indian fleet, which is IC engine, fossil fuel driven, is under transition. We have a roadmap for that as a country. So eventually, all these fleet operators who are operating IC engine cars would, at some point in time, would transition to EVs. Are they really our competitors as of now? I don't think presently they are. There could be some other standalone fleet operators in the market, purely 100% EV fleet operators. Definitely they are there and they are operating. Do they operate in the same space as us? Yes, they do. What differentiates us from others, and after the differentiating factor, do they really remain our competitors is a takeaway. And see, as we said, EEE is an end-to-end e-mobility solution provider. We bring our 100% EVs, our charging infra, and the state of technology to run the entire complex gamut of operation that EV poses. So to say that we create an ecosystem around the whole thing, our tech-enabled technology features that we offer to our clients, to the best of our knowledge, are not being offered as of now. So competitor landscape in terms of others using EVs definitely exists. Competitor landscape in terms of exactly the same product as we are offering it, I don't think that exists. So we do not foresee any threat from the competitors or other EV operators in the same space as we are.
Great. Thank you, Gaurav. And for those who have joined us late, this is the Q&A section going on with AAA Taxi. This is where you get to ask the questions to the founders. So just drop a comment here. If you want to have more information on the pitch of the startup, here is the place to ask for it. If you want to know more about their future plans, more clarification on their business model or go-to-market strategies, then come forward and ask the questions right away. So to ask the questions, please write that in the Q&A box on your web browser, and we're currently on live with Gaurav from AAA Taxi. So Gaurav, a question that we are looking at it in a multiple folds on that. What's your view on driving growth in the EV space and EV adoption? So there are multiple questions on EV charging versus EV swapping. For a four-wheeler, what's your take on EV charging versus EV swapping ecosystem? And overall, what do you feel that that will derive growth in the EV space and EV adoption in India?
Thanks. So this is a very connected question, and that is where the interest lies, because this is a very large question with regard to how EV adoption will take place in our country. So going ahead, if I may say, the future of mobility essentially is shared, connected, and something like what fleet operators like eee-Taxi provides. EV adoption definitely will be more through fleet operators who are operating in the shared space. These present pandemic times are very, very unprecedented and have shown some kind of different consumer pattern with regard to automobiles. However, the future still remains same. The economy will be back on track in the same manner, and the consumption and EV adoption would happen as it was happening pre-lockdown. So the fleets are the way to go ahead. With regard to what will drive the increased penetration of charging infra availability at all places across city grid and on highways, that's one thing. Extended range, availability of extended range cars, faster charging technology for cars that get charged extremely fast, and some fiscal and non-fiscal incentives, subsidies that are being provided in present market. So these are the drivers of EV adoption in India.
Right. And there are many questions on form factors. Right now, we're looking at different, let's say, two-wheeler form factors or rental uh, transportation startups coming up and getting a lot of traction. So, what's your view on form factor, and what do you feel that what form factor will see the maximum traction? And a follow-up question on that is, are you also considering other form factor vehicles like three-wheeler or bus for AAA taxi in near future?
So, see, even presently, the two-wheeler segment is one of the highest in terms of number of vehicles on road. So, definitely, if that form factor undergoes transition to electric, so we can expect a higher, share of the pie in the overall EV transition happening from two-wheelers, followed by three-wheelers and then the four-wheelers. That's on how the transition may take place, would take place rather. As regard we considering, we are an e-mobility player. As I said, we are in talks with some of our corporates, and initial level talks have happened where we could be deploying other form factors for them. On a daily basis, we keep getting requests and that do we operate larger form factors like buses and all, and we are in talk with them also. Presently, on the larger form factors like buses, the capex is very high. So unit economics do not make it very viable as of now, given that technology is evolving, battery capacities are increasing, and the overall unit cost of the vehicle would come down in due course of time. We see a larger increase, and we are very open to adopting other form factors also in due course of time.
Great to know that you're open to adopting other form factors in future. Uh, we have questions from the audience that what are your future aspirations? What is the roadmap for AAA taxi look like for the next 3 to 4 years? So there's a particular question on are you planning to expand internationally? So which are the countries that you are looking to expand next?
So our future plans include expansion both within India and outside. Overseas expansion, definitely we are looking at. Our confidence in the last 6 years of operations and gradual increase with three distinct geographies, Delhi, NCR, we cover entirely. Then we are operating in Hyderabad, Secunderabad, and now with Bangalore. Definitely we are looking at increasing our footprint to newer cities, metro cities, and then tier 2 cities also, and tier 3 also in due course of time. So India in itself is a huge market that we will be tapping on as we progress from here. As regard our international expansion, definitely that's on the anvil. At an appropriate time, we will be taking a decision with regard to that, and we aspire to go overseas also. Presently, commenting on the countries, that would be a little difficult. But definitely, those things are on our drawing board as of now, if I may say.
Great, good to know, Gaurav, that you are planning your expansion. And for those who have joined late, we are going ahead with our live Q&A section with AAA Taxi, and we have Gaurav from AAA Taxi live with us. So this is an opportunity for you to ask the questions about the future plans of AAA Taxi, or if you want to have clarification on their business model or go-to-market strategies, please go ahead and ask us the questions in the Q&A box on your web browser. Now, Gaurav, coming back to the EV ecosystem in India, so what do you feel like? When you go for a charging model for a EV for player like AAA Taxi, do you feel that this is the model you want to go ahead in the future, or do you see there is a potential of adopting a swapping model for four-wheeler? Strange question, but this is one of the questions that we have received.
So as we said, we are very open, and we will be evaluating newer technologies, newer vehicles with innovative technologies, and getting them on our fleet. We are very open to that. As regard getting the swapping for four-wheelers, and so that is something as a part of the innovation that OEMs have to do and bring to us. Moment such cars are available, wherein swapping becomes more efficient way. Definitely, we have to agree that battery swap will reduce the downtime in terms of charging, which presently the vehicles take, or maybe later that you have to invest in charging the vehicle. So battery swap is a very quicker way of making the vehicle be running at all time. So, but definitely should such a technology be available, we are very open and we'll be more than glad to take that.
All right, and the next question is on charging stations. In fact, so majority of the population would look to have vehicles that they can use both intracity and long drive perspective within intercity. So how do you plan to have charging stations in rural areas of India?
So as we said, we intend our expansion plans are not limited to only metro cities, but tier 2 and tier 3. Definitely we look at. As regard the charging, doing charging in the rural area, that is, I'm sure it will take some time where the availability of charging infra in rural is made operational. So should it happen, we will look into it. So how we do our own charging is we have our own captive charging. We have strategic alliances with our charging partners, and we also use open access public charging available. So out of the three, I mean, should we have to invest in charging infra in a rural area, that is where if the business demand is there, we'll do that. So that is how we look at the charging, especially in rural area. And should charging from public, open public network be available, or our partners install charging in rural areas, we can capitalize upon that also.
Great. And Gaurav, we're continuously receiving questions on journey of eee-Taxi. And one question which pops out, what's the impact that you feel that eee-Taxi has created for their customers? And how does the product solve the actual pain points of those customers? So maybe for the benefit of those who have joined late, if you can explain a little bit more on this one, please.
So as we said, EEE is an end-to-end e-mobility solution provider. We bring our 100% of our own EVs charging and state-of-art technology, together to save companies time, money, and carbon emission. And we are presently operating in Delhi NCR, Hyderabad, and Bangalore. And what we offer is a tech-based employee transport solution. We help companies abate scope 2 and scope 3 emissions, and we bring our own management expertise in running EVs and charging infra. So that was a small snapshot about EEE for the sake of repetition. But if I may say that what impact we have caused in our 6 years of journey, we have abated in excess of 4,500 tons of CO2 till date. We have planted more than 80,000 trees, if I may say, if we translate that into number of trees planted, upward of 80,000. And the number of kilometers that we have done is in excess of 15 million clean kilometers. So that's on the sustainability and environment impact that EEE has caused till date. There are other impacts that we have caused, in our fleet. Driving cars and cabs has essentially been more of a male drivers, but in our fleet, we are very proud to announce we have gender diversity and inclusiveness. We have women drivers. So one particular hub in Delhi is now being planned to be converted to all women driver in due course of time. That's what is happening. I mean, if you use EVs, and by getting EVs have and run, as we say, 15 million, in excess of 15 million kilometers, definitely that much is the drain of Forex, for crude oil import that has been saved. On the technology front, it's a seamless, contactless, tech-enabled, appified service that we have provided to our end customer. So it's a tech-enabled system. Manual intervention or touch points are negligible, just where bare essential. So running EVs definitely has caused health and other kind of benefits. We know that 30% of all smog that Delhi sees, or any of world's major polluted city sees, is all from vehicular pollution. So that is the kind of impact we have caused. On the policy advocacy, if I may say, we have been very integral part of and called for many discussions, participated with the government in both the Delhi EV policy and the Telangana EV policy. So this is the impact that EEE has caused till date in the last 6 years and continuing ahead.
Great, Gaurav. Yeah, that was quite an inspiring uh,
Sorry.
about AAA Taxi. Uh, so what is next for AAA Taxi? What are the next steps for AAA Taxi, and what help or support you are currently looking for?
So next is expansion into newer territories. We recently added and started Bangalore. And each of these territories where we are presently operating are have sizable business as of now, and we look at increasing the fleet size, and more the fleet, more the clean number of kilometers that we run, and more the impact that we cause is next for us. And that will always remain as it is. And we're also looking at newer technologies, newer vehicles, extended range vehicles, different kind of form factors. And our technology is very user friendly. As I said, it's a very seamless, contactless service on our appified service that a client has. And the best part of our offering is that it's a build to suit model. So while we say we operate employee transportation, we do airport drops, we could do spot rentals, unlimited kilometers. So we have broken the traditional, car rental model operating in cities, wherein everything had to have a kilometer limit and an hourly limit. So we offer unlimited kilometers to our client. And lastly, we also offer a build to suit model. So with these things, the expansion of more such services for more clients to be added in more geographies, more cars, that is next for us.
Right, and that was a long-term strategy, and we're getting more and more question on how COVID-19 has affected your business. Since you have answered the question previously, uh, so what are some of your key learnings, the positive, negatives during the COVID time, and what affected you the most, and what do you feel that helped you to go to a better place than currently you are right now?
So COVID has been a great learning time for us. One of the greatest takeaway from COVID has been, while we thought that particular sectors, companies operating in the IT and IT space are the majority of those companies that take transport, but we realize that it's now there is a heightened consciousness around sustainability. So companies trying to build their businesses and be very sustainable, trying to do abatement of scope 2 and scope 3 emissions, they are reaching out to us for services. So definitely there is a newer sector, newer space within, while like we were very the large part of our effort was dedicated to the IT and IT space client acquisition, but we realized that the service sector is very large. A lot of demand lies, and it is started coming from manufacturing, service sector. We have telecom players, medical, hospitality, and others. So that has been a learning, and accordingly, we have now changed our strategy with regard to the acquisition of clients. So that's there. With regard to COVID, what we have internally learned and how we are doing, we ensure that all our cabs between n number of trips that the driver and the vehicle do, the car is sanitized, the car has a cockpit made inside. So the driver and the passengers at all time are separated. There is availability of sanitizer. The boarding and deboarding is fully contactless. We request our passenger before he boards that the driver would do the opening and closing of door to make you sit down comfortably. These are the things that we have incorporated to ensure that anyone who travels in a eee-Taxi car is very, very, if I may call it, COVID proofing that we have done of our cars to a larger extent. And between the number of trips, each car is sanitized. So there are two things. Each car that reaches the hub for charging is sanitized. And if there is a pickup between away from the hub, my driver in the cab carries a dispenser with the same sanitizer and chemicals, which are approved by the WHO and other government agencies for sanitization of cabs and offices. The car is sanitized with that, and then the newer trip is taken.
Great. Hello, everyone. For those who have joined late, we're having a live Q&A section with eee-Taxi, and currently we have Gaurav from eee-Taxi with us. We'll start to wrap, but we'll take a couple of more questions. And if you want to put your questions, please put them in the Q&A box so that Gaurav can help them answer for you. Uh, Gaurav, we have a couple of questions on the more future-looking questions. So, with expected increase in the urbanization by 2050, are we considering the flying cars and the future energy demands in the mobility section? What's your view on this, Gaurav?
So definitely, flying cars and autonomous cars, they are definitely the future of mobility. And as and when they come to India, we will be very actively looking at them and getting them onto our fleet. So we are one company, we keep changing with time and adopt the best of the fleet. Yeah. When we started off, there were hatchbacks also available in the EV space. But we took a very conscious call of not taking EV hatchbacks. We only went for a sedan. So the 3-box configuration of sedan has an enhanced safety. So that's for the present kind of cars that we have. Flying cars definitely are on the anvil should the technology be robust and proof, and it gets passed through all the testing agencies, and India allows them as and when we'll be looking at them. But I see that this is still little futuristic as of now, because there isn't even proper, I mean, if I may say, full permission to run your drones, So cars and flying cars may be a little distant away, but I'm sure the future will arrive one day, and the eee-Taxi will be one of the forerunners.
Great. Coming back from the future to present, we have a question from the audience that what kind of corporates prefer electric vehicles?
So as I said, initially it was all IT and ITES space that was more towards the adoption of, transport, and they were transiting to EVs. But now all corporates that are conscious of their sustainability, they want to do clean. So mostly the corporates that we have now been seeing in the last 6 to 8 months are those. They are also creating an ecosystem for their employees and within their own companies, which is clean, green, more sustainable. Their buildings are clean buildings. Their energy sources are clean, and they want to use clean transport. So with this as the thesis, clients are now wanting to take EVs from us. Still the space, I mean, if we talk, if we talk in terms of sectoral mix, IT, ITS, service sector, hospitality, and a lot of traction is coming now from manufacturing, telecom sector, and like these are just a few that I have listed.
Great. And building on this, interesting question for you, Gaurav. Now that you have mentioned that you are planning on to expanding overseas and in different geographies in India, are you currently hiring?
Very interesting question. We are doing two things currently. We are hiring and we are expanding. We just expanded to Bangalore and we are hiring. So definitely.
Great. Thank you so much, Gaurav, for coming on and answering our questions from the audience today. And thank you everyone for tuning in. This has been a fantastic demo day. We hope that you really enjoyed it. Remember that you can access the recordings of this Q&A after the event has wrapped. We'll also still be able to contact the startups via our event website. So be connected with them and put up your questions for our founders and our startup teams to answer for you again. And thanks again. And we hope you have enjoyed the Shelly for demo day. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gaurav, for your time and taking the questions from the audience today.
Thanks, Abhijit. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Bye.